Do you know what really sucks? Is sitting down to edit your project and realizing that you have gaps in your coverage or shots missing. You need to have a really good, specific, and detailed shot list. Head over to filmmakersecrets.com/shot list, SHOTLIST, to get a killer shot list template along with some training where I show you step by step exactly how to use it.
It teaches you so much and it makes you a better person. It teaches you humility, empathy, and understanding. And I became way less judgmental and just more chill, I guess, overall, since I started working in the entertainment.
Filmmakers have the power to evoke emotion, inspire thought, and drive universal change in this world. So how does a filmmaker thrive in an environment that is almost intentionally designed to bring you down? That is the question, and this podcast reveals the answer. What's happening, filmmakers? It's George VK. Welcome to Filmmaker Secrets, episode number 27. And I am extremely excited to introduce my guest, Max Reeves. She is an actress starring in My Alien Girlfriend, Devil in a Dress, The System, Alice, The Black Market, Blackmail, Cats of Bayou, 11. A lot of those things have come out. Some of them are about to come out. So Max, go ahead and say what's up to our filmmakers and reveal the one filmmaker secret that you've been keeping from us.
Oh my God. If I only had a secret to reveal, I don't know. I'm like an open book. I feel like, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me at this podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm extremely flattered because I feel like I am at the very beginning of my artistic journey myself. So I'm just happy to be on board and, I'm still figuring everything out. And if I can help someone else along the way, I'm happy to. So,
well, that's beautiful because I think you have a interesting perspective that a lot of my filmmakers probably aren't familiar with because you're living in LA, you're actively working in probably, and you can correct me, in all kinds of different projects from commercial to narrative. Can you talk just a little bit about the scope of the work that you enjoy doing?
Yeah. So I've moved to Los Angeles, I'm going to say about 5 years ago, something like that. Yeah, it's been a while. It's kind of like once you live in LA, you lose the track of time. I kind of feel like Rip Van Winkle a little bit, you get so discombobulated with, the weather and everything. But yeah, I guess it's been like about 5 years. I started off with just modeling and primarily photography. Then it took me to the world of commercial acting in commercials. And I found it definitely way more thrilling and exciting. Working with moving images is definitely something that resonates with me much more. And then I only about like 2-3 years ago, I want to say, I finally gravitated towards something that my heart's at. Which is acting and screenwriting, because I just love stories and telling stories and be part of this.
That's amazing. I love that you mentioned stories and storytelling because that was going to be my next question. Max, take me back, way back to the moment that you feel was the defining spark that gave you this just unabashed, unadulterated desire to tell stories, to become a storyteller in whatever capacity that is?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. I feel like it goes back just to my childhood years, just because growing up as the only child, like I never had sisters, brothers, and my parents would always be working. So I kind of had to entertain myself for the most part. And I started writing like little stories, little books when I was, I want to say 8, and just never stopped.
It grabbed you by the throat and then said, you're going to become a storyteller for the rest of your life.
I hope that the quality of stories went up a little bit from when I was 8.
what is it about performing and acting in general that intrigues you as a human being? What is that? What is it? What is it about acting?
Well, isn't it just amazing that you can put yourself in so many different shoes and walk a few miles trying to imagine what it is like to be so many different people. And I feel like it teaches you so much and it makes you a better person. It teaches you humility, empathy, and understanding. It's almost like some kind of like a psychoanalysis, in a weird way, just because the way you approach each character, you really try to find this bits that, you can relate to in yourself. And I've definitely noticed that like I became way less judgmental and just more chill, I guess, overall, since I started working in the entertainment, which you would think maybe it would be like the other way around. Like a lot of people just get jaded and mean and superficial, but I feel like if you're doing it right, it's a lot to learn,
You mentioned a lot of great words there. I think it comes down to the humility of it and the vulnerability of being put on the screen or on stage or whatever that is. What sense of purpose do you feel when you've successfully completed a project, when you've performed your heart out? What is that sense of purpose that you get to keep going to auditions, to getting rejected, getting turned down? What is that spark?
It's just, there's always new material. There's always the new stories, the new something. I think that is the most stimulating part of it, that there's no routine per se, that the more you work, the more you get familiarized with the process. You kind of have your set of tricks that you use, but it's just hugely motivating because you just never know what's going to be ahead of you. No matter what level you're at, there's still this, there's like sense of discovery, right?
That's a great word. Do you remember your first project, your first big project?
I don't know about big. It's always been kind of like small, and
it's all relative, right? I mean, you can consider a short film that you were really proud of a big project because, relatively speaking, to something you've done before, it's a grand sort of experience.
I think that my Alien Girlfriend that you mentioned, that was actually the very first feature that I did, and I got so fortunate that it was the first one, and it landed on Amazon Prime, which got a lot of exposure. And that was, and that came out kind of like completely unexpected because I didn't even audition for that part.
Oh, wow. Tell me that story.
Well, so I was in talks with the production company and they were considering me for something else, another project, but I was completely unaware of my Alien Girlfriend at all. But what happened is that they called me one night saying that, like, Max, we have a problem here. We are in the middle of shooting this project and we cast this other actress and it's just not working out. Would you mind to just come and try? And I'm like, okay, what is it? And they told me the whole story, like the premise. And I thought, oh, wow, this is kind of interesting. This is different. And it's a comedy, right? Like, I'm not really like a comedian. I don't have any improv or comedian training, but I didn't have at that moment. But I just decided to take a crack, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
So you didn't have feature film experience prior to that, correct?
No. I mean, I did a bunch of commercials, and I did I did another film that was released way later, the same year. But like my Alien Girlfriend was shot in 2000. What was it? 18? I want to say.
It came out in 19, so that would make sense. 2018, probably shot, yeah.
Or maybe 2019. Oh my God, I'm losing.
We lost a year. I understand. So
It was released the same year, I think. So.
Yeah, I would love to dive into it because it's an interesting premise, and your character is a character that I would consider to be challenging because I used to act a lot myself in theater and in film. It's something that I always enjoyed doing, but I never got serious enough into it because cinematography took over. But I digress. Your character in My Alien Girlfriend virtually doesn't talk. She only knows a handful of words that this guy teaches her. How that must have been difficult to act, but not really have any substance of dialogue. What was that like?
Yeah, it's completely different. I feel like maybe what helped me is, I don't know if it did, maybe I sucked at it. But I think I tried to approach her as a child, basically, because she's an alien and God only knows like how old is she, right, in her alien form. So I thought just the way she was written with her reactions being so genuine, so like how naive she is, that maybe she's just a child who fell from the sky. She wants to go back to her parents, to her family. And that was kind of my take on it, right? And like kids, obviously, when they don't talk much, you look at them, how they try to still communicate with you, right? Through their facial expressions, through, body language. So I kind of derived most of my inspiration from that, I want to say. But yeah, like not having a lot of lines, it was tricky. It was tricky.
My favorite moment throughout the whole thing was happy kissing.
Yeah.
I just think that you committed so much to the role. And I think that is something that likely a lot of actors struggle with, is actually committing to the role. My high school theater teacher always, banged this into our heads. Commit, like really truly believe that you are this alien girl and you are just trying to get home. And I think those moments were just so authentic, and it suspended the disbelief. And I was also, the other point I want to make, and I want you to comment on this, because comedy is hard in the sense that you have to really have a good sense of the comedic timing. And when I mentioned that moment of the happy kissing, I felt like that was a moment where your character really, truly embraced sort of the person that she's become and the relationship that she's built with this other guy. And in that moment, I felt like you were just totally abundant, and the comedic timing was just spot on. Like, I rarely laugh out loud, but I definitely let out like a big old, I was the only person in the house and I was cracking up.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I love to support these kinds of indie features, just because this is the type of really authentic storytelling that I really dig. So can you talk and comment on just some of the comedic timing? I know it's a challenging thing, especially with improv and when you have actual dialogue written. What was that like, dealing with, learning or coming up with the comedic timing, not being necessarily a comedian?
I don't know, and just kind of being present in the moment and trying to play off my partner, Ken, who's just extremely talented. Like I credit him for so much because he gave me so much to play off him, right? And to some degree, he made my job easy. And like with comedy, as you said, you got to commit. Like the stakes are so high. And no matter how ridiculous they are, you can't play it like halfway, right? You really have to just go into it and just approach everything with like whole seriousness. Like there are no jokes for your character. It's supposed to come across as funny, but it's not funny for you, right? Like you're not the one who's laughing at the moment. And I guess at the end of the day, it's kind of like, if it feels right, it just feels right. You don't really give it a second thought. You can't really pre-plan the timing until you get on set, until you start communicating with other actors, and then camera action and some magic happens.
Movie
Hopefully.
magic.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you are also a screenwriter, Max. So because you didn't give us a filmmaker secret, I'm hoping I can coax a storytelling secret out of you. And when you think of secret, don't think of something that nobody knows. Think of it as something that a certain group of filmmakers choose to ignore when they are telling their stories or writing their scripts or shooting their films. What is this one thing that you always think about when you're screenwriting?
I feel like whether it's acting, screenwriting, entertainment in general, I feel like the main issue that a lot of people have right now is obviously it's extremely competitive, right? Just insanely competitive. But I feel like a lot of people do not view it as business, and they do not educate themselves about the business side of affairs. Like, for instance, if you're an actor or if you are a screenwriter, and if you're just getting started, you almost like have to treat yourself as a startup. You know what I mean? Like you
Totally.
Because you're asking for people, for production companies, for agents, managers to put this trust in you with them getting potential returns, right, on their investment. And whatever you have and whatever you're offering, you have to be like 10 times better. I don't know if you're familiar with it. There's this great book by Peter Thiel, one of the co-founders of PayPal. It's called 0 to 1. And he talks a lot about this startup thinking, and that, like you have to be 10x better than your next competitor, right? Like no matter what it is. And you kind of play into your strengths, right? And then you try to leverage that, and just treat it as a business, and especially in this ultra competitive world, just
Max Reeves dropping knowledge bombs. I love it. That's you pulled out some really good nuggets there. I appreciate it. And I put you on the spot there. So thank you for going along. I would love to transition now. So we talked about the past. We talked about my alien girlfriend. What are some of the things that have been happening in your own creative world, as well as the outwardly LA world, as as things start to kind of open up? What has been going on?
Well, I'm just so happy that we are opening up and things are shaping up pretty well and healthy. I can't really talk about some things, but I would say there were a lot of important changes that took place in my life last year. And I'm just all ready to go. I personally, I got signed with the new manager, which is very, very exciting. And as you probably know, when you're just getting started in this business, it's hard to find not just representation, but like especially good, solid representation. And like the screenwriting is this new venture that I discovered for myself during this year of pandemic. So I'm very looking forward into putting 2 of my projects into production this year, hopefully, at least one.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's awesome. I would love to hear maybe just kind of what kind of stories do you like to write about? Because the combination of actor and screenwriter is always something that's fascinating to me, right? Because you spend your time reciting somebody else's words, but then you're like, I can do this better, or whatever that is, right? You're
right.
Put your own words down on paper. What kind of stuff do you like to write about?
It's all over the place. I'm just not consistent with just sticking to one genre. whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But one of the things that I wrote was a 1 hour drama serial. It's a criminal drama about an illegal immigrant who deals with all sorts of obstacles while trying to figure out her legal presence issue. She has to stay in Los Angeles. And she gets involved with street gangs and drug cartels and gets involved in all sorts of illicit things only because she is illegal. So there's that. And the second one is actually a comedy. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I would say, like, see, for me, screenwriting and acting, they're also kind of similar in the way that you're telling the story, whether it's your story, you came up with it, or you just being a tool, to help somebody else tell this story. It's just, it's all about stories, right? And there was this phrase that I've learned somewhere. How do you go? Something about, like, it's more about a setup, right? Than, let's say somebody learns that they're being fired, right, from work. And it really depends on the circumstances as where do they learn this, news. If they learn it, in their office or at their home, it could be a drama. If they learn about it while they're, in the bathroom sitting on the toilet, it's a comedy, right?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to get there.
Yeah, right. But like the essence of story, it can still be the same, right? And like with the comedy, I did not intend to write it as a comedy. Actually, I just had like the premise in my head, and then it's like, oh, this is kind of funny. So why don't I try to write it as a comedy? And that's then if people who read it, they laughed. So that's the best.
That's a good sign.
You can get, right?
I was just reading today, I think it was like top 5 tips from one of the famous screenwriters, or I forget the name. But one of the things he said was basically to not worry so much about having a theme or picking a genre, because the story itself will kind of weave those themes and those genres within. So I think that's really cool that you said that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have 2 scripts that are hopefully getting into production sometime soon. And I'm wishing you the best of luck with all of that. I would love for you to come back on the show once that starts to really pick up steam, and we can chat about what's happening once you can actually share a little bit more. What's next for you? Not the sort of micro short term, but what's next for you long term? Where do you imagine yourself in 5 years?
What's 5 years? I don't know. I just, I don't know. I feel like having a plan is good, but everything takes longer than you expect. And you can't be too hung up, on certain expectations or plans, or when things don't go the same way. You never know what's going to happen, right? Like sometimes not planning, but at the same time giving all your dedication and putting all the hard work, it takes you to much more interesting places, right? Like I do have a plan, obviously, but I'm still open to exploring different things.
No, that's great. I think
I'm going to get more features.
More features
Down my belt. Yeah.
Let's do it. Feature films. What that kind of makes me think about this concept of here and now. Something that my grandpa would always drill into my head is that, don't worry so much about the past. Don't worry about what's going to happen in the future. Like the things that you can control are the things that are happening right now, right here. And I think that just kind of resonated with me for the rest of my life. And it made me think of that as you were talking.
Yeah.
Amazing. Max, I could keep talking and talking to you, but unfortunately I'm trying to keep these under 30 minutes. and you've been dropping knowledge bombs and amazing perspective on the film industry. Where can our filmmakers go to find out more about you?
They can go to my IMDb page. They can go to my website, which is maxreeves.net, or they can go to my Instagram, which is Max__Reeves, Reeves like Keanu Reeves. And yeah.
Somebody had the 1_.
Yes. I think I've had quite a few Max Reeveses who messaged me saying that I stole their name. I stole their account. Like now when you Google Max Reeves, apparently like the pictures of a girl in a bikini instead of like a guy who's a photographer populates. So he was very upset, but it is what it is.
It's the internet.
It's marketing.
So I'm going to have all of that in the show notes. So filmmakers, please do go check out. Please watch My Alien Girlfriend. It's free with your Prime membership, so there's absolutely no excuse. I have one last question for you, Max. Are you ready? This is going to be a doozy. What is your desert island movie? So if you could only watch one film for the rest of your life, what would it be? 2001 Space Odyssey. I love it. I don't think we've had that one before. That's amazing. You're sticking with it? You seem uncertain.
No. Oh, I wish I could have like a flash drive. Like, 5 minutes content, the favorite thing.
I've allowed people to bring like a season of a show or maybe 2 or 3 movies. If you're on a deserted island, I'm going to allow you to have at least 2 or 3 movies. So let's have one more.
One more. One more. I don't want to pick another Kubrick to go in some other direction. I want to pick like some feel-good movie. Maybe it's going to be A Roman Holiday.
Okay.
Yeah. To make things go a little bit better on the deserted island.
Kind of balance things out a little bit.
Right?
Awesome. Well, Max, thank you so much for your time, your knowledge bombs. I really do appreciate it. I know that my filmmakers appreciate it. And, just like I said, please come back on the show when you have your projects up and running. I would love to chat more with you about your progress as a screenwriter, as an actress, and just witness you hitting amazingly huge goals in your acting career, your screenwriting career. Thank you so much for being on the Filmmaker Secrets podcast.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
If you like that, then you are going to love my Cine Racing Challenge. This is a 7-day filmmaking competition where your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to write, shoot, and edit a short 60-second film in just 7 days for your one chance to win with over $10,000 in prizes. So head over to cineracing.com. That's cineracing.com to get registered. Spots are filling up fast and the timer is ticking before the next Cine Racing Challenge launches. So be sure to head over to cineracing.com right now to get registered. I'll see you over there.